Sup Rotten? Tim Apple tweeted out a video saying that there's something in the air, but is it cool air or air that slips out when you get a little too ambitious at the nearby Taco Bell, if you know what I mean? Apple followed through by releasing many new products that may entice you to upgrade. But should you? Well, just because something is new doesn't mean it's necessarily worth it, you know? That's why there's cool fruit like me that's gonna give you the rundown, so you aren't stuck wondering. And don't worry, I'm not asking for anything in return. That would be silly. But now that you bring it up, double check if you're subscribed yet, and hit that notification bell if you like seeing this face on your YouTube feed. So there was quite a lot of tech revealed, so let's start with well, I use the term new product very loosely in this case, because we now have two updated additions to the iPad family, with the new iPad and iPad Air, respectively. That's right, there's a new base model iPad, and Apple isn't calling it the 11th gen for some reason. This one is called the iPad A16. Not sure why they decided to do this, being that the generation naming both made sense and was easier to understand and differentiate. Naming the iPad after the chip only works for the M series because it's a brand new line of chips, so it worked. That's not the only thing disappointing and confusing about this release. Unfortunately, because this new iPad brings nothing new to the table besides, well, the newer chip, and I say newer and not new because the chip in this new iPad is actually an old chip, one that came out before Apple Intelligence was a factor. So yeah, Apple has decided to release new products without Apple Intelligence support for some reason, which only adds to the question as to why they even updated this thing in the first place. Needless to say, if you already own an entry-level iPad, you're not missing out on much here. This new generation does have a starting storage option of 128 gigabytes compared to the 64 they have been using until now at no extra cost. So there's that, I guess. And for those of you wondering, it still does support the first generation Apple Pencil, thank God. Because if it only supported the USB-C Apple Pencil with no pressure sensitivity, that would have sucked. Anyway, I would avoid this one, even if you're looking for a cheaper iPad. The M1 iPad Air you can get for around the same price right now and is leagues better than this. I'll leave a link below if you're curious. Right below the link to AOI, the sponsor of this video. MagFlash is the world's first 2-in-1 charging and data storage cable. Its 240 watt charging power can charge a 16-inch MacBook Pro in just 30 minutes. Its 3.2 Gen 2 speeds can transfer data at up to 1,000 megabits per second. But that's not all. You can also transfer said data directly to the drive built right into the cable. This unique cable is a 2-in-1 solution, eliminating the need to compromise port real estate with separate charging and data storage cables. The MagFlash cable is lightweight and portable, yet it offers a wealth of functionality. With its detachable and reattachable attachments, you can easily access the data storage capacity of over half a terabyte, making it ideal for creative projects, gaming files, or schoolwork. Additionally, the cable comes with a spring cable that allows you to extend its length, providing more convenience and flexibility. Don't miss out on this modernizing USB drive upgrade. Check out the MagFlash 2-in-1 cable set in the description below, and shout out to AOI for sponsoring this video. We're not done with the iPads, because there is now a new M3 iPad Air. If you're wondering what the difference is between the M3 iPad Air and the M2 iPad Air besides the chip, there is none. Not even in the marketing. They're using the same wallpaper. Oh, they're now selling a Magic Keyboard for the iPad Air, now complete with a larger trackpad and a row of function keys. I wouldn't bother upgrading if you're coming from a slightly older generation, as nothing they brought to the table here is worth it in my opinion. iPads continue to be in that very awkward spot where there's not much going on for them because the hardware has been solid for years, whereas the software seems to be always catching up. Let's move on. Following the iPads, Apple is also releasing a new M4 MacBook Air, starting with a 10-core CPU and an 8-core GPU. It now supports up to 32 gigabytes of RAM compared to the 24 from the last generation. Along with its 12-megapixel camera upgrade, the MacBook Air now supports 2 external displays up to 6K resolution, even without closing the MacBook, all starting at $1,000, which is $100 less than the starting price of the M2 MacBook Air. And needless to say that this is probably the best laptop in the world, no exaggeration. It's literally the perfect laptop for most people out there, and it's extremely thin and light without a compromise on power with the M4 chip. I have no complaints. If you've been holding out and coming from an M1 or earlier MacBook, I would go for it. Why not? And last but not least, we have the M4 Mac Studio, but it's a little complicated. You see, you can either get the M4 Max Mac Studio or the M3 Ultra Mac Studio. You can get this beast up to a 32-core CPU and 80-core GPU and a whopping 512 gigabytes of RAM. Complete with the 16 terabytes of storage, it'll cost you around $14,000. But still, pretty cool. If you're coming from something like a Mac Mini like I have, I personally benefited a lot from the upgrade. You can never go wrong with a Mac Studio in my opinion. And those are all the announcements. Did any of these releases pique your interest? Are you unimpressed? Let me know in the comments. And if you would like an early access to Ryan Apple videos long before the public gets to see them, or even a little custom avatar to go along with your name, feel free to support me on Patreon along with my Ryan and Ryan Pro subscribers, Vasco, Franco Beck, Daniel, Sauerd Kiri, Carbon Ranger, and Miss Game. Thank you all for the support as it keeps me dropping videos consistently, and thank you viewers for watching. If you want to see more of me, you know what to do. I really like where Macs are right now, but I feel like the cherry on top would be to bring back the glowing Mac logo. That'd be so sick. I really wish they'd bring that back. But this time you can customize the color. Okay, wait, I'm sorry. I don't want to get too carried away now.